Oi, oi, alright, how's it going? I'm Grant, you're you. This is Doodle Review, coming through with a new album to give a spin, chat some fraff about, and give a rating to delight, nonplus, or greatly offend you. Today we're looking at the latest from retro garage 70s rock group Sheer Mag. Sheer Mag formed 10 years ago now after the four members had spent the previous few years bonding over a shared love of punk and classic 70s rock while studying at university. The band moved into a shared house together in Philadelphia and quickly started to record, putting out 3 EPs back to back in 2015. The group's rough and ready punk rock spirit, blended with a riffy, big chord 70s classic rock aesthetic, was already unique enough to turn heads, but with the furious howls and wails of frontwoman Tina Halliday, the music Sheer Mag put forward became a powder keg that could ignite at any moment. And I got wind of the group through Buddyhead around the release of those EPs in around 2015, and it's one of the few times I've been that early to a band, so it's been really cool to see the group kind of gain more and more traction over the years through the release of their albums Need to Feel Your Love in 2017 and A Distant Call in 2019. The band have a blend of grit and glam that recalls an act like Thin Lizzy, and I've noticed a little contingent of these types of bands popping up in recent years. Some of them pretty good. There's White Reaper, there's the Struts, there's also Starcrawler. So if either you already know Sheer Mag or you like the sound of some modern bands giving some love to a 70s good time rock and roll aesthetic, definitely add those bands to your list, particularly White Reaper. Those guys and Sheer Mag are without a doubt one of my favourites of that whole thing. So it was 2019 when the Mag last put anything out. A Distant Call was great, and it seemed like the group were picking up a fair bit of steam, but I think, like quite a few artists in that crucial part of the career where heavy touring and promotion are vital, the pandemic just kind of killed a lot of momentum. So based on that, fans have had a pretty long time to wait for this new record. Playing Favourites, the third Sheer Mag LP, finally arrived this past March via a new label, Jack White's Third Man Records, joining a now pretty massive roster of artists over there. When I heard about the label change and being aware of the quite significant gap in releases, I was intrigued to hear where the band would go with this new record, particularly with the production. Throughout their first series of releases, the band really leaned into a kind of lo-fi production aesthetic, which I think added a fair bit to the throwback charm of it all, but I wondered if after a long break, a fresh start and a new label, the group might opt to maybe soften some of the edges in pursuit of broadening the fan base. Listening to the album, in some respects I was right, just not in the way I expected, and not always for the best. Where I thought the group might polish up the production to offer the same ripping rock and roll hooks but with a more kind of direct, in your face, less muddy attack, Sheer Mag have opted to keep hold of the raw and rough sound and have instead softened things stylistically, straying a little from that 70s glam sound into a more old school pop and rhythm and blues vibe. The stylistic shift isn't offered up straight away, but the production choices certainly are. The title track is the first in the running. You immediately hear some broadening of the spectrum of the sound with chorus effects applied to the guitar, but coupled with the long-standing lo-fi production choices applied to everything else, the slight echoey flangey guitar tone just adds kind of more to the sonic soup and makes things sound a bit muddier. Golden Hour later in the album is another example where adding elements like multiple slides, organs and lead parts could make for an exciting, expansive piece, but within the context of the lo-fi steez, it just feels crowded and nothing really gets the chance to shine in the way that I think it definitely should. Tea on the Kettle is probably the most egregious example of this tendency to add more stuff into the pot that could be interesting but just muddy the picture, in this case with this distorted effect applied to the drums that comes and goes. It could be cool, but within this track it just adds another layer of cloud distorting the mix. I mentioned before that there's also some stylistic experimentation in the mix here, and this first presents itself on All Lined Up, a track that incorporates these really lightweight guitars and bongos to create a kind of summery poolside feel. In and of itself, it's not bad, but again, mixed with this tinny rough production, it honestly leaves the finished song sounding like the tropical setting on a Fisher-Price musical toy. Taking the experimentation further still is the track Mechanical Garden, a mishmash of parts and riffs that is cool at points but mostly leaves you feeling like you've just heard a demo medley. It opens with what could be a banging Sheer Mag track with some blistering lead guitar parts until some sampled orchestral strings beckon into a mid-tempo yacht rock Mac DeMarco-esque lullaby. This part speeds up and gets higher, almost like a tape machine being manipulated, until an awkward drum fill takes you to the main part of the song that again gives tropical Fisher-Price vibes. There is a really good cool guitar solo, but otherwise the song is just a little bit all over the place to my ears and honestly presents most of the worst aspects of the whole album in one extended song. This review has been a tad bitchy so far, but the album's not without high points. Don't Come Looking starts with a beautiful acoustic guitar intro, which is nice enough to kind of warrant its own song, but as it goes, it just serves as a red herring lead-in, with the main song switching things up to a nice mellow rock track with great dueling harmonized lead parts and far and away the catchiest chorus on the whole record. The way this one's recorded, it almost sounds like the band are actually playing along to a song on the radio. It's a byproduct of the wider production we've talked to death about on the album, but here I'd say it actually works. Eat It and Beat It, the album's second track, is probably the best example of the classic Sheer Mag sound. It has a deeper, more muscular sound than anything else here. Some aggressive backing vocals in the verse, and even better in the bridge, they do a really fun, like whiny backing vocal that reminds me of Johnny Thunders and the Heartbreakers. It's like something off their LAMF record. I Gotta Go has a cool old school 50s rock and roll vibe to it with some of the best vocals, and I really like how towards the end the I Gotta Go parts are kind of extended and ad-libbed, really helping to expand the chorus and add to the excitement in its closing moments. At the end of the day, it's great to hear Sheer Mag still out there doing it, and I bet the majority of these songs will absolutely kill in a live setting. But on this record, the lo-fi, raw, rough and dirty production kind of clashes with the stylistic shifts and additional layers they've endeavoured to add here. I'm going to give this a 5.5 and knock it on the head. But that's what I think though. What are you saying? Let me know in the comments what you think, and check the description for reviews and of other artists I think you might like. And if you find yourself doing all that, you may as well subscribe. Subscribe, share some thoughts, show some love, or just have some abuse in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers mate, bye.